Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. We are hopping on live today with a very special guest after missing last week. Wendy will not be on the live today because she is in Disney World with her kids, her three kids, and her mom and dad, well, grandma and grandpa, Papa Scott and Gammy K. But we are going to go ahead and bring on our special guest, my Aunt Janelle. Let me try and bring her on here. And we're going to be talking about a pretty heated topic. It's a pretty important one that I think is very important to address. Add her on here. And she has a wealth of knowledge on the subject. So I'm very excited to pick her brain. And I'll be learning something as well. So that's a really exciting thing.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can definitely hear you okay. I just want to make sure our settings and everything are good and showing up the right way. If you guys are on live and you can hear us okay, let us know. My Aunt Janelle is so brave today to weather the technological beast of Facebook Live with us.
Yeah. And when you consider how old I am, it's hard, but be nice to me.
Oh, you're going to do great. This is so awesome. And we are so lucky to have you on. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce the show and what it is that we do. So this is What Do We Know with Wen and Wit. Usually we have the Wen and the Wit component, but like I said, Wendy is out of town. Last week, we both were out of town, and I was in Maui having the most amazing time. And Janelle was just visiting Wendy in Tennessee, too, right?
It was beautiful. I had a great time, and I got some exercise.
Oh, perfect. You got to fit it in when you can, right?
We have to, definitely.
So, like I said, this is What Do We Know with Wen and Wit, where we cover various topics. We hope to bring perspective, inspiration, and education on some hot subjects and meet somewhere in the middle. So my name is Whitney. I'm the wit part of the equation. I am a mom to my son, Dylan. I have a baby on the way, due in 2 months. It's crazy. I love my fur baby, Rizzo. I am a wife and a small business owner in Northern California. So without further ado, my Aunt Janelle is going to introduce herself as well and tell us a little bit about her.
I'm a fitness professional, retired from the state of California. I've been doing the fitness professional stuff for a little bit longer than I want to admit, but it's been a long time. I have 2 grown children, and I have 5 grandchildren, and 2 kitties that I love, adore so much.
They are pretty sweet cats. I don't like cats, but those cats are pretty cool cats.
Oh, yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about, staying active and the importance of exercise and its toll on your mental health. So, what would you say, Janelle, are some of the mental health benefits of exercise?
Well, there's a lot of mental health benefits. I would have to say that the lack of exercise can really trigger certain things. So it's kind of like a vicious circle. But some of the things that can help with are depression, anxiety, stress. It's even been proven to help those with PTSD and ADHD too. So those are some of the
Nice.
things that we are able to help with exercise. Yeah.
So I see on here you have some a cool little fact about exercise and depression in particular. Do you want to share that with us?
Well, what a lot of people don't know, and like I say, it's kind of a vicious cycle, but what's been proven is that for mild or moderate depression, even a small amount of exercise can act the same way as medication can for that. So there's certain hormones that are released and that help, like I say, mild to moderate. If you're, on the spectrum of a little bit more intense depression, then obviously you need to see a doctor and get help. But for mild and moderate, a little bit of exercise can go a long way to help.
And so what would you say is an example of moderate or a small amount of exercise that could relieve depression?
Well, even running 15 minutes or walking instead of taking the car and so forth, just a small amount. Like I
Yeah,
say, 15 minutes of a walk or a run can have the effects of medication, same effects.
that's
So
amazing.
got to get
And
out there and do it, and like we've been talking about, what the hard part is you get kind of caught up in a vicious cycle where you're feeling bummed out or you're stressed or you're anxious about something. And instead of getting out there and doing a little bit of exercise, you get into the cycle of I'm too depressed or I'm too stressed to exercise. So it takes a back seat to some of the other things in your life.
mhm.
So just kind of getting off that cycle is such an important element,
Right.
so and it's just important to break that cycle whenever you can. So
It sounds like the same as any other thing that's good for you is that consistency and just
yeah,
starting, taking that first step is one of the
right.
most important things.
Yeah, and
Um,
there are obstacles to it too. I mean, sometimes we just feel overwhelmed or like we have too much on our plate, or for you and for people like my daughter and other moms, well, and it was the same for me. But sometimes you just feel like I've got too much to do. The kids come first.
mhm.
But then you get into this cycle of you're stressed, so you can't really take care of the kids that well because you're a crazy lunatic, and so they're suffering when you're thinking that you're doing them a favor. So you know
Right.
it's, so that's an important part, to take time for yourself. Um,
It's
fit
good
it
in
in where you
theory.
can. Exactly. So what do you think? What some of the obstacles you face?
Well, I was going to say that I remember, anxiety and depression are definitely things that I can relate to, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. But I remember way back in my college days, studying for exams or finals, how that could be really, really intense.
Oh yeah.
Um, and you just spend hours staring at a book that I made it a habit to, part of my routine was to close the book and go to the gym because I not only was able to retain the information better, but could take a breath.
Right.
It wasn't
Right.
as mounting inside of me, that pressure and that stress. So I think that even
Yeah.
without knowing that was so important, it really drastically helped to reduce my symptoms when I was struggling mentally in those ways.
Well, even a little bit of exercise sometimes it can promote changes in your life, in your
Mm-hmm.
brain. So, say for example, you're having this constant negative self-talk going on, and we all do that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
a constant. There's so many stressors today, so many opportunities for us to keep going and going and going without, like I say, stopping that cycle. So when you
Mm-hmm.
actually do stop and take the time for a little bit of exercise, there's physiological things that happen to your brain. There's a hormone called endorphins that kick on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I say, it's the same as a medication. So when you go out for a walk or take a class or something like that, it gives you that little mental vacation. It's like
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity to stop that cycle of self-talk, whether it's negative or just something that's eating at you. So I know for myself, that if I take a class or even exercise on my own, I don't I don't think negative thoughts as much as, oh, I'm out for a walk. Look at what a beautiful day it is. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little vacation. If I walk for an hour, it's like I've taken a little vacation for an hour. And then when I
Totally.
come back, whether I take a class or, like I say, go for a walk or something like that, when you get through, you really do feel a sense of not euphoria, but sometimes,
Yeah.
you get this sense of feeling, wow, I'm so glad I did that, and I feel so much better. I'm happier for it.
Yeah. And
So
a
yeah,
sense of accomplishment also. I mean,
exactly.
even a small walk is better than sitting on the couch, right? What is that expression? You're like, miles ahead of the person who's sitting on the couch or something like that. I always love that
Oh, yeah.
expression because it makes me feel good.
And I teach yoga too. And um, I can't talk enough about how beneficial yoga is. And just the breathing, the way the breath is for yoga, the inhale and exhale through the nose.
Hmm.
You've taken my class a few
Oh,
times,
hell
been
yeah.
over. You and your friends come over and I torture you guys. But
She's the best
it's
in the biz.
actually, it's just, you really can't think of your problems or your stress when you're doing that,
Hmm.
because you're thinking of how am I going to get that leg from way up above my head to forward, like my Aunt Janel's saying to. So, it's just, it gives you a mental vacation, and it's
Totally.
so good for you.
I'd like to see how I could get my leg from above my head to in front of me
Not,
in my current state.
not behind your head. You know what I'm talking about.
Just barely able to move these days. But I wanted to throw it out to the audience that's tuning in. How many of you would you say exercise regularly? And if you do, what is your preferred method of exercise? We're always looking for tips and also different forms of exercise to add to our go-to list. So if you have something that you really enjoy that you're able to stay consistent with, we would love to hear about that in the comments below. Um, but on that same note, I know we were also talking about exercise as a way to help with ADHD, and I thought that was really interesting. What have you found about exercise and its tie to ADHD?
Well, studies show that any kind of exercise can help improve your concentration. So part of the symptoms, one of the symptoms of ADHD is lack of concentration.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been shown to help you, stop that cycle of getting up and down or looking side to side, and you know, uh, it helps you concentrate a lot more. And
Mm-hmm.
they say that it's better than medication, because
Sure.
some of the medications that are out there, I know. Hope it's okay. My daughter has ADHD, and she's been diagnosed with it as a child and as an adult. So I have a little bit of knowledge about it. But when I used to see her sit and try to concentrate on her homework or anything else, it was just crazy. She'd read a sentence and then she'd have to go back to the beginning of the sentence and start over again because her concentration was so
Sure.
bad. But if I could get her to go out and play for a while and come back and sit down at the same, you know, page of what she's doing, she was
Mm-hmm.
always a little bit more able to concentrate. So, you
Yeah.
know, and a lot of it has to do with, like I say, there's a couple of hormones. One is the endorphins, and the other one is serotonin. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
medication that is given to people that have depression or ADHD, PTSD is what's in this medication. So, the idea of having that naturally released while you're exercising is way better than, taking medication. So,
Totally.
yeah, and I know a lot of moms would want to hear that because unfortunately there seems to be more ADHD around
Mm-hmm.
than before. Maybe we just know about it more. But, and, myself, I was so anxious to get some relief from what we were going through with my daughter that I automatically was happy when the doctor said, "Oh, just put her on this medication." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, let's do that." Because it's hard. It's really hard, especially if you have a child that has that or yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
I took the quick fix and put her on the medication. But what happened is she got headaches and hated it. She absolutely hated it. So
Sure.
I had to take her off the meds. But getting her out and running around and releasing some of those hormones naturally seemed to help a lot.
I would venture to say that, I'm not an expert in this field by any sense of the
And
word,
neither am I.
but exercising is something that your body was meant to do. So
Mm-hmm.
if that can alleviate some of any of these symptoms that we're talking about, without any side effects other than maybe
Right.
you're tired or your muscles need to adapt or whatever, nothing drastic, that would
Yeah.
be such a better option
No,
than
totally.
not, I don't hate on medication, but then taking a medication that then could give you headaches or mess up your stomach or
Yeah,
your
the
gut or
side
whatever.
effects, exactly. And also, and this was kind of interesting to me, but I believe it's true. When you exercise where you're moving your legs and your arms at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
there's a neural reaction that actually helps you learn how to concentrate and focus better. So I
Hmm.
thought that was kind of interesting. So, you know,
That's really interesting.
I know, I thought so too. So
I
anyway,
came I came across this article recently, and it was written. It was more an editorial from the perspective of a pediatrician, like a longtime pediatrician, and whether you agree with it or not, that's up to you. But this pediatrician said after doing a lifetime in pediatrics, he had noticed there's been an increase in ADHD, and his hypothesis, his guess on why that's the case is that we aren't exercising as much and we're more glued to our tablets, and from a young age these kids are sedentary
right.
when they used to run around until the streetlights came on,
Oh,
right?
and so then again, too, the type 2 diabetes is another, what happens when they sit around. So,
Mm-hmm.
there, that's another benefit of having your kids exercise is because it helps to fight that type 2 diabetes that comes on and that we have
Totally.
way more of now, just the way people eat and sit around. And it's just a, you know, cycle.
Right.
So,
It seems like you have to make kind of the intentional choice to be healthy with your diet, with your exercise, because it doesn't come natural anymore. I mean, what we're kind of told to do is sit on the couch and eat fast food, and that's the
yeah.
worst thing in so many
Well,
ways.
and I think as parents, we have to take responsibility for setting a good example.
Mm-hmm.
If you're sitting on your couch all day, your kids see that, then chances are that they're going to do the same thing. So
Totally.
setting a good example and getting them to do stuff, and that's another a topic that I wanted to talk about is so many times people feel like I have to take this big chunk of time out of my day to go sweat and torture myself just so I can say I had a workout. But there's so many other ways to get exercise in, and one of the ways
Mm-hmm.
is to make it like a family fun type of thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a walk or taking a bike ride. And when I was visiting your sister in Tennessee last week, she has three darling kids, and oh my God, they're so cute. But I tell you, they had me moving. They have tree houses, two of them. So of course I had to climb up into the tree houses, and it was exercise getting my fat booty up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is they wanted to do yoga, so I did yoga with them. And then I didn't remember, but they said I promised to take them on a bike ride. So we did that too. So there's so many fun things you can do with your kids, and
Yeah.
so my point is make it a fun thing, to do. So you don't feel like it's a chore as much as having some fun,
Yeah.
going on a hike, or things like that are so simple and fun to do. And you get an exercise while you're doing it.
Right.
So
So there's a little indeliberate tip that if you want some accountability, just tell your kids you'll do something and
yeah,
they won't
and they
forget.
won't, no, exactly. So, if you promise, you got to do it, right?
So just make the promise when you feel like doing it. So then when
Yeah,
you don't feel like doing it, you won't have a choice.
exactly. But, how many times have you felt so stressed out that you feel like tension in your jaw or in your
Mm-hmm.
neck? A lot of people hold tension in their shoulders, and a lot of people hold tension in their hips, but they don't really realize it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when they feel like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything because I have all this pain, and it's the opposite should be true is, get out there, stretch, get some oxygen to your muscles and release
Mm-hmm.
some of that tension. So, it's all related totally.
Oh yeah, and something else that we had talked about as a side effect of getting exercise, in addition to the mental clarity and being healthier, you have a higher self-esteem, because if you're consistent with it, you're definitely going to start to flatten out in some areas, tone up in some areas,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
will
and that
feel like a
causes you to feel
stronger
better.
person. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it's not just women who can benefit from that. Everybody has a sense when they're gaining weight or
Hmm.
just don't. It's not just getting fat, but it's also feeling sluggish and
Hmm.
just terrible. And when you can improve on that, it'll raise your self-esteem, make you feel like I did something good for myself. And by the way, look how good I look now. Look how much
Totally.
better I'm feeling. So, it's just a great thing. I mean, believe me, I've had struggles with stress and depression in my past, and still do,
Right.
so I have this ability though, and I'm very happy that I have it, is the ability to go out and do some exercise. A lot of people don't feel like it, and so they don't. So I'm
Hmm.
one of those crazy people that like to exercise. And even when I don't feel like it, I make myself go do it,
Hmm.
and because the benefits so outweigh, the pitfalls of sitting
Right.
around.
Well,
So,
and
and then,
you were, go ahead.
well, I was just going to add a component of aging too,
Mm.
because let's face it. One of the things about aging is it causes people to stay in more, not get out and socialize as much.
Hmm.
So, and that causes depression and stress too. So, as a person that's aging, and I'm a senior now, and there's good things.
No.
You get discounts. I love that part. But there's a lot of people that just don't get out and see their friends anymore, and so the social aspect of maybe taking a yoga class or, taking up a walking class or something like that gives you the chance to talk to people
Hmm.
in social interaction that we all need, but we get stuck, of not doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, got to get out there.
For everyone who's watching or catching the replay, you got to show my aunt some love here. She is one of the most fit, athletic, like amazing women that I know that I strive to be like when I get
Well,
older too,
I can do crow pose, which is kind of
which I
different.
can't.
Yeah, well, you have to look it up, to see what it is. But it's like this. I've been doing it for so long. I don't know why, but actually I do know why. When I was younger, I had four brothers, and they were all kind of jocks. Most of them were into some kind of a sport, and I took up sports at a very early age,
Hmm.
and I saw. Well, let's back up a little bit. I I realized that if I didn't do something, that I was the kind of person that would gain weight, automatically gain weight. But I also saw that if I exercised, that I could keep my weight down.
Uh-huh.
So that's one of the motivating factors, is that throughout my life, not only do I like to exercise, but I like to keep my weight down. And it's so healthy for your blood pressure and your heart
Hmm.
rate and all those other things. So, I that's kind of why I did it. And for some reason, I've been able to stick with it and have made it a part of my life. And kind of like brushing your teeth every day.
Yeah.
I do some kind of activity every day. And people are probably out there going, she should shut up right now because I'm not like that. Um, but it does really help. It's gotten me through a lot of stress and depression. So,
Right.
yeah,
Well, and as you've been talking, you never once said it's been easy. It's just you've made it a priority in your life,
yeah,
and it is in that way easier than someone who hasn't exercised in a year, that's
that's
trying
true.
to do that first step. Like for you, sometimes you might not feel like it. We all don't feel like it sometimes, but your body at least has adapted to that
Mm-hmm.
form of some type of exercise, and that's really important.
That my body and my mind,
Mhm.
it's, for example, from traveling last week, the last couple of weeks actually, my I didn't exercise as much, and when I'm tired from jet lag and from just, going constantly. So the last few days, it's been kind of hard to motivate myself, but I tell you, doing it, I always am like, why did I even think of not doing this?
Mm-hmm.
So, and another thing is my job. I do get paid to exercise and
You're
to show.
incentivized.
Yeah, that's one incentive. But I also have my little granddaughter that I babysit now, and I have to stay strong mentally and physically for her because she's hell on wheels.
Yeah.
She hits the ground running, and I got to keep up with her. Get down on the floor, get up, pick her up. So it's another reason to stay strong.
Right. And
Yeah.
just as you were talking at the beginning of this live about the vicious cycle that you can get in, when you can get into a healthy cycle, you reap the benefits just the same, where we talked about, having the higher self-esteem, having less depression, but also better sleep and
Better
more
sleep.
energy. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want those two things in their life? More
Yeah.
energy and better sleep. Come on.
True. True. I think a lot of people ask me, how do I have so much energy? Well, because I think it's because I exercise. You know, I,
Mm-hmm.
I still struggle with the sleep issue sometimes, but I wonder if I didn't exercise, how much worse it would be, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's just so good for you in so many ways.
Yeah. And I'm looking here. I didn't want to overlook this that you wrote here about a lot of people say they can't find the time. And, I'm one of those people. It's a challenge to navigate your schedule and make it a priority. But you were saying that someone who exercises 1 to 2 sessions during the weekend can
Hmm.
experience almost as many health benefits as those who work out more often. That's really
That,
encouraging.
yeah, it is. That's what studies show. Of course, I put that and I believe it's true. But the other part of that is you have to be careful that you don't become a weekend warrior. Like you try to cram all your fitness into 2 days, and so you end up getting injured. But,
Uh-huh.
the benefits are great, but you just kind of have to be careful about not overdoing it on the weekends if you're trying to make up for loss during the week. But while we're on
Sure.
that subject, you know, and this is also a kind of a recent study that shows you can break up your workouts. It doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 4 15-minute sessions. You can
Okay.
take a walk and later on, do a little bit of weights or something. It doesn't have to be that 1 hour at one time. So
Mm-hmm.
I was thrilled to find that out because I would say with my clients that I have, convenience, in other words, getting to your workout is not convenient, so people tend to not do it,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't have the time. So I'm thrilled to be able to say that you don't have to do it all at once. You
Mm-hmm.
can break it up. And another thing is there's so much you can do if you're trying to watch TV. you know, you can put a mat down in front of your TV and you can stretch. You can bring some weights or a band or tubes and
Mm-hmm.
do butt bridges or abdominal work. There's so much you can do right in front of your TV if you feel like I don't really want to. I'd rather watch the news or this Democratic debate or whatever. So you
Mm-hmm.
can get down on the floor and do some pretty good stuff that way. So
That reminds me, growing up, my mom is pretty athletic also. I mean, she's been pretty she's exercised regularly for most of her life, but it's been less intense, more walking during her lunch break, walking in the morning, that kind of stuff. And it has improved her ability as she's aged to get around. But I
sure.
remember when I was little, that she would sit in front of the TV and do her butt lifts and her leg lifts. And I always thought, like, "Oh,
Exactly.
you're so embarrassing, mom."
Well, you know what? I've embarrassed my kids quite a bit doing stuff like that too. But guess what? They think I'm awesome,
Oh, yeah,
and that they wish they were in good a shape as me. So, you know, and
totally.
it, like we've already touched on, it gives you so much more energy, makes you feel better. A more well-rounded person, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So the last thing that I wanted to really touch on is to have you share your tips for staying motivated when you're struggling with your mental health or just struggling in general to get there. What are some of your tips to overcome those?
so you're saying if you're feeling stressed or depressed, and how do you how do I make myself get out there, or do what I need to do?
Yeah.
I think it's a mental thing, absolutely a mental thing. That if you can tell that you feel better after you've worked out, it gives you the motivation to go and do it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like if I were to take some medication and I felt better after a half hour after I took it, it's
Mm-hmm.
the same as I know absolutely that if I even do a short walk or do some yoga, that I'm for sure going to feel better. And
Right.
I was thinking about this earlier today. I don't think I've ever remembered a time when I haven't felt better for working out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even doing gentle yoga where you're stretching, moving your body, it's just, I don't think I've ever felt like, oh, I wish I didn't do that because now I don't feel good. Never,
Yeah.
absolutely never, you know. And another thing I've noticed too lately, now that I'm a senior, is that a lot of people I know my age aren't able to get around as much
Right.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to stop traveling or stop doing things because I can't get around. And it's never too late to start. Absolutely is never too late. So, a lot of people I know are like, I just can't do it anymore. My legs aren't strong enough. Well, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up. Do a few of those every day, and pretty soon your legs will get stronger.
Yeah.
You know, pick up some light weights and do a lot of repetitions. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. So
Mm-hmm.
just, letting yourself kind of go because you're getting older is a big mistake. It's just doing yourself in,
Oh,
really.
absolutely. And on that same
Yeah.
token, being comfortable, I think, is a huge way to stay motivated. Like, and by that I mean, invest in some comfortable shoes. Invest in a yoga mat that doesn't hurt your wrists, or,
Yeah.
find a brace that helps with whatever's ailing you, because that's not a big enough reason to, like you said, just throw in the towel on the rest of your
No,
life.
no. There's modifications too.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of people that have let their self go so long that they don't have any strength anymore, you can always modify to make it work for
Mm-hmm.
you. Start small, and I would say that that's the most important thing. Don't go out there and do an hour intense workout. Start small, and that
Mm-hmm.
start by just stretching, and then when you feel yourself getting a little stronger, maybe go for a walk, and then little by little increase your intensity, your speed, or your duration of your walk. So
Mm-hmm.
start little and get her done. It's just so good.
Oh,
Good stuff.
totally. And it's been so fun in the times that I have been able to exercise with you or take one of your yoga classes, that it's a social thing. As much as we get down to business,
Hmm.
before and after, and just having that connection with
Yeah,
someone who's in it with you,
right.
it makes you want to go. It makes you want to
It
like
makes you
see
want
it
to go.
through.
It makes you want to call one of your friends and say, "Hey, let's go for a walk." Because when you're walking, you're usually talking.
Yeah.
You just don't want to make it so you're talking so much that you're slowing down your pace too much. So you should be able to talk, but you shouldn't be able to whistle or sing a song. You know, you ought to be able to carry on the conversation, but yeah, it's true. Call a friend, get your friends out there, do something. Maybe with your mom friends, get them
Mm-hmm.
all together and push the strollers around. Do whatever works for you. That's the most important thing. And everybody has different needs and different ways of approaching things. So you have to do whatever works best for you.
Totally.
If anybody has any questions, you'll give me, Wendy will give you my phone number, or you can ask right now. But
Yeah,
so yeah.
we both can access this live video after it's gone live. So if you have any questions or suggestions or just want to share anything that we've discussed today, feel free to comment below. We'll definitely get back to you. If you're in the Sacramento area, my aunt is fantastic at basically all forms of exercise, but yoga, she's the bomb.
Wow. Pilates too. Don't forget the
Oh
Pilates.
gosh,
We
she's
just
a
haven't we haven't done a lot of Pilates, but I try to sneak some in on you guys when we're doing the yoga. But yeah,
yeah.
so I love
Um,
it.
but yes, this was awesome. I think that you did an excellent job. So thank you so much for your time today, Aunt Janelle.
Thank you. Thank you.
This was a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm feeling motivated. I'm gonna go and get out there, do something fun today.
Well, and like you say, if anybody has any suggestions, we could do this again on
Mhm.
more specific topic. So I'd be happy to do that.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and call it. You know, as we always say, this is what do we know? We don't know everything. We just kind of like to share our experience. And Janelle, of course, has a lot of experience in this area. So we'll thank you one more time for hopping on with us. We will be
My
back
pleasure.
next week. Wendy and I both. We haven't yet gotten on the same page about what we'll talk about, but we will be here tomorrow, next Wednesday at 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you very much for coming on.
Peace out.
Bye.